Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Behind the Screens, your favorite esports and gaming talk show here at Radio UTD. My name's Hector.
My name's Hrithik.
I'm Kevin.
And we're back once more. If you're not familiar with the show, we kind of just talk about anything that's going on in the gaming and esports realm. And a lot of times we go on different tangents and such. So this week won't be too different. But before we hop into that, I wanted to let you guys know about a couple opportunities we have going on for Radio UTD in the coming months. So if you're interested in a blog or audio tech position with us, there's applications for the fall semester available on our website, which is going to be radioutd.com. And if you wanted to call in at any point during the show, it's going to be 972-883-6305. But boys, recently there was a Nintendo Direct that happened. Did you guys watch it by chance?
No, but I saw some of the news and looks pretty interesting, we'll say.
Yeah, so Nintendo has been kind of strange, I'd say, over the course of the last, 2 years really. Due to COVID, I feel like they halted a lot of things alongside a lot of other game developers. But the thing about Nintendo is, like, they're typically developers and publishers for all of their games, or that's what they call like IPs, which is like internal production or something like that. So some big announcements though. Kirby is actually getting its like first 3D game. So if you've seen like all the Kirby games in the past, all of them have been pretty much like 2D, 3D in a 2D camera angle. So it's always like side to side profile or behind. But this is like the first time that Kirby's kind of getting that 3D vibe. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Did you guys ever play Kirby when you were growing up?
I played Kirby a little bit on the N64, the Nintendo 64. I sucked at it. I didn't know what I was doing because I was a little kid, but it was definitely a fun game. I can't say that I know much about the Kirby franchise, but to hear that it's going 3D, you think they're taking kind of like a turn, kind of like the Mario Odyssey franchise and stuff like
maybe
that?
I mean, Mario has gone 3D for a while now, so I don't think it's specifically that, but I mean, it's interesting to see like older franchises kind of getting like revitalized in a sense. And they did the same, like there were other announcements for Metroid Dread, which is like their newest Metroid 2D game, I believe. But like games like that, Bayonetta 3 also got a really big thing. It was funny, I don't know the specific day, but I know Audie does off the top of his head. It's like the initial announcement for Bayonetta 3 was like 1,300 days before the next trailer or any talks about the release date.
What the heck?
Wait,
so
what?
it's like legitimately, like, imagine a game that you love. Let's just take some random game, right? Like I don't know.
PGA Tour?
Yeah, PGA Tour. You know? And you're like, dang, I really want the next one. They announced the newest game in like a teaser trailer. Really like simple, similar to like how Elder Scrolls 6 was, right?
Yeah.
They do that. 3.5 years later is the first time that they even mention it again, and it's still like, okay, yeah, the game's coming out next year.
Why? What?
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I would like to say that.
I mean, to be fair, Bethesda does the same thing, so I can't really say.
Yeah, but that's Bethesda. They're just. Bethesda.
I mean, it's Nintendo.
I mean, Nintendo has a very good like repertoire of games. And honestly, I'd like to just give them benefit of the doubt in this case, because we did end up going through COVID.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the primary reason.
I think that's probably the reason why it took forever, but it's still kind of interesting. You feel like they would actually mention something like, hey, this is still going on, by the way. Like, we're still working on it. Like, sit tight.
They did that for Metroid, actually, because that game had a similar treatment, and everyone was like, where is this? And then they were like, we actually decided to restart the entire game. And everyone was like, what? But to be fair, like, Metroid fans, I wouldn't say are like a very small niche, but they're like very dedicated to the franchise. So I feel like most of them are like, you know what, with how bad game releases have been as of recently, where it seems like developers are just pushing the game really hard to get it out on time for all the stakeholders included, similar to like Cyberpunk, let's say. I feel like a lot of Nintendo fans are like, you know what, you guys do you, get it out whenever you can, but just make sure that the product's good.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I can feel that.
We don't want another Cyberpunk.
I do think that like even I know COVID was going on and stuff, but like updates would be like really cool to have instead of them just be like, hey guys, it's coming out soon. Like,
yeah, I think the way that they phrased it for the Metroid was like, don't worry, Metroid is still in development as we speak. We've just decided to start from the ground up again for some reason.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
That's
I mean, like,
fair.
it's whatever. But I think that's Metroid Prime 4. So this is a different one, Metroid Dread, so they're having like 2 different Metroid games come out, similar timing.
that's interesting.
But I mean, those are like really fan favorite franchises that, I mean, I don't personally care for, but I know there's a lot of people that do.
The one game that kind of caught my attention from this Nintendo Direct was the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Really?
So, this game is like a game I've known about for like so many years. I've played it myself, and it was honestly a fun game. But what I heard was that they were gonna release like a new graphics, like kind of like a revamped game for Knights of the Old Republic, and that's a pretty old game. This game came out in like the 2000s, like 2005 or something.
Listen,
like that. It
I was looking
crazy.
at Hot Wheels Unleashed on the list.
I was literally about to say that, dude. That's
Okay.
actually one of the games that like
And I was
seems
following.
interesting to me.
Okay, I was trolling, but go
Hey,
ahead.
okay, I have
yeah,
a reason
go.
though, because like growing up, I used to play a bunch of Speed Racer, and that used to be one of my
Wait,
favorite games.
Have any of you guys ever played Lego Racer?
I don't think
No,
so.
I played a lot of Lego games.
Okay,
but-
this game, it like haunts my like dreams. It's like the game itself was so fun, but the music, like if
Wait,
I swear
pull
if I
up a
heard the
picture.
music, I would literally like have PTSD from this game. That and it's Lego Racers. It was on the PC.
Is it not a Nintendo game?
No, I mean it's a Lego game.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. But it was like pretty much imagine
looks
like
terrible.
Mario Kart, but it was like actually cracked, bro. There was like different circuit races and the music and the maps. It was 1995, so the fact that it was like that flushed out. I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure that like Mario Kart 64 came out similar time, but
Yeah.
you know, I didn't have an N64, and I also was playing on my PC. So I was kind of a cracked PC gamer since I was a young boy.
Oh my God.
I used to play like Fate and stuff like that. If y'all ever heard of that, but I actually never played much like Mario Kart. I played
Really?
a little bit of the Mario Kart 64. But that Lego Racers game looks pretty interesting.
Okay, it's
honestly.
actually really fun.
Should I?
Listen, next time you guys have to play that game, and
Alright.
we'll talk about it on the following show.
All right, I'll see where I can get it.
I could probably get you the CD. It's probably somewhere at my parents' house.
All right, that sounds pretty interesting. I'm probably gonna rage. I'm probably gonna cry. We'll see what happens.
It was good. Another game that I also played, that at a young age was this Jimmy Neutron game on the PC.
Wait, I might
It
have
was
played that.
okay. That game was actually frightening. I'm not gonna lie. Like you know,
sounds
like
familiar.
Jimmy Neutron is already kind of like scary at some points, like conceptually.
It's a pretty
But
odd
like
show.
the
yeah.
music mixed with like the 2001 graphics, like everything seemed like so like barren and like
Oh, on the
mysterious.
Why does it
Was it
look
on the
like he's
PlayStation?
skateboarding?
My man,
he's cruising.
but yeah, that game had some scary music, bro. But it was a fun game. Like my man Carl Weezer looks like he's T-posing in every. But that game was fun. That was really fun. You guys, I think I asked this before. You guys didn't really play that many PC games like that were like.
I was a console kid
PC.
growing
Yeah,
up.
I was console until 2015.
Not.
I will
well,
say there was a lot
rookie
of games
season.
from when I was younger that I'm looking back now. I'm like, I want to play this again. Like so many fun games.
Yeah, I mean, I played Cool Math, like we mentioned last podcast.
See, browser games, I feel like are different. I appreciate
those are a staple. No matter what age. I don't know about that. Staple.
No, but like it's a different. It's like a. Yeah, but it's like saying like, right now, if you're a PC gamer, right, and someone was like, "Yeah, I'm also a gamer," but then they like exclusively play like mobile apps, like you'd be like, you know, technically yeah, but like not really, you know. It's like the same thing. Like I
don't know. Like, okay.
Well, actually,
like, you have to look at mobile
Genshin
gaming.
Impact now, and like those big games, like they've actually really popped off in the last 5 years. There are a lot of big
mobile games now that actually get some money and you know, just have like an overall big fan base, which is pretty crazy for mobile games. I honestly did not expect that. But
yeah, those have always got like really good backing to them, and that's why like bigger companies have worked on them. I mean, the gacha like style of games in general, which is like, for those of you that don't know, it's like basically a style of game where like character pulls and like loot inside of the game that influences the game is like in a lottery system. So it's like loot box to the max, where you have to legitimately like just like gamble your money or your points in currency to bank on getting someone that like is beneficial for your team or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of them. Neither of you played Genshin, right?
No.
You played Breath of the Wild though. It's different, but
I have actually.
Oh my, Hrithik has not played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I play the same type of games all the time.
I can't believe
the shooter games.
Do you have like a Nintendo Switch or anything? Like,
no, I don't. So I'm missing out.
Hector, we need to hop on
What's your favorite sports games?
Sports games? 2K and Madden.
I can't believe you right now.
So you're saying PGA Tour is up your alley in that case?
Yeah, probably.
Potentially.
Send him a copy.
I'll send him a copy. So I'll give you guys some insight, right? Last time around, actually 2 shows now. On the first show, we talked about PGA Tour, and I mentioned that I would play it. On the second show, I sadly informed you guys that I wasn't able to play it. But this time, I will have it known that I played PGA Tour last night at 1 a.m.
I yelled at him too.
He did. He walks into my room and he just, yo, play PGA Tour. I was like, all right, bet, say less. So then I launch up PGA Tour. Someone DMs me and they're like, go to sleep. And I was like, bro, I need to play this game for the podcast. All right. You think I would actually play this game?
I have a question on I was looking at the Nintendo Direct list and I saw Deltarune, and it looks like it has like Undertale like vibes to it.
Yeah. I think it's made by the same people.
It looks interesting, and for those who don't know, Undertale is a very, very, very popular game. It was one of like the best games that came out. Oh shoot, was it like 2018 or something? I completely forgot, but it was a really great game. And Deltarune has the same type of like lettering as it. I'm kind of excited for that. That also caught my attention from the Nintendo Direct.
I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure the game has been out for a while now. Deltarune. Yeah, 2018.
Really?
That's crazy.
It's old news. What's new with Kevin? He's not with the wave.
I never knew this existed.
Yeah,
it's because Kevin hasn't played PGA Tour. That's
what I'm saying.
That's probably it.
He's behind the wave with that. He's behind the wave with the sports game. Let me give my honest review of this game. All right. So I launch it up. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be. It can't be that bad, right? I'll give you a rundown. It wasn't that bad, but I launch into it. It takes like 5 minutes to load for no reason, like when I'm in the main menu.
Your PC is just bad.
No, okay, I literally have a 3070 and an i9.
You just need like a 4K PC.
So, off of that, I launch it up. It goes through like a 10-page like terms and conditions and like waiver forms and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like, I feel like I'm signing my life away just to golf with a mouse. And that goes to my second point. It goes to the control options, right? After 10 minutes of like scrolling and accepting terms and conditions, I was like, just get me into this. I go in, it asks me, what is my preferred control scheme? Is it with the controller? Is it with the mouse? And at that point, I was like, it was like 1 a.m. I was already tired and I really didn't feel like setting up my controller. So I was like, you know what? I'll just play with the mouse. What's the worst that can happen?
Oh no.
I will say it wasn't that bad, but it was funny because so I get into it, right? And it throws me immediately into the tutorial. What happens is, in order to send a shot, what you have to do is you basically like think about like a golf swing, right? You have to swing back and then you have to and then you have to swing into it. So I'm literally like at 1 a.m. I'm like left mouse click swinging back and then flicking forward, and it like actually tracks like the speed that you're flicking it at too. And so like it was just really, really funny because like throughout the night, like I was just like there's both like the force that you're doing it and the acceleration, but it also tracks like how like straight back and forward you're going. So like if you like go off trajectory, then your ball's also. So like I'm legitimately like stiff arm like back slamming it forward and then like popping off, and like I'm glad that our apartment has like good soundproofing, at least into other apartments, because like I was popping off. I was like, let's go.
Oh, I couldn't hear him at all.
Yeah, because you have your headphones in playing 2K.
I get it, that's true. I was playing 2K. I was playing 2K last night.
You don't have like a monitor that's like right in front of your mouse, right? Like,
what?
Like
a monitor.
Like a third monitor?
Yeah, like
no.
something in front. Okay.
Because I can imagine you doing your like
straight
swing
imagine
motion, right?
like the image that I thought of was that you would like flick it back, flick forward, and you just lost the whole monitor.
That's what I was thinking.
I also have monitor arm, so even if that was
there's no chance that he does that unless he just throws his mouse.
But that sounds terrible.
It was actually really fun, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that I actually had a lot of fun with it. But then so I did like 8 holes and I was like, okay, dope, we're good. And then your boy of course was top of the competition, not even by a long shot.
Bro, he beat Chad Barker.
Yeah, I did beat Chad Barker, whoever that is. But on top of that,
Woods in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm just looking. So he sent a screenshot in the Discord of like him like winning. And I'm just looking at all the names, and I don't know if they're actual golfers, but there's like Oliver Wolf, Vince Reynolds, Logan Carlin, just a bunch of names.
They sound like I feel like they sound like typical golfer names.
And guess what Hector's name is?
Pro golfer. Yeah, you're damn right it was. Listen, all I'm gonna say is the game was really fun, but then I got to like hole 10 and then I was like, okay, is this still going? And then like it like the graphic literally like at the bottom when it has your score after like every single hole would say like how many like hits it took you, right? And like the graphic went to like hole 8, and then by the time I hit hole 8 I had like an animation, and then it extended it out to hole 18, and I was like, there's no way I'm playing 18 holes of PC golf. No shot. Flash forward 30 minutes, I did play 18 holes.
Yeah, you had to see it through.
Well, yeah, I had to see it through my boys.
But that's like sports games in general. Like
okay,
you start
really
playing it.
Want to be honest.
I mean, you start playing like sports games and you enjoy it a lot, but eventually they do get boring unless like you're a hardcore like diehard. You want to play it.
I think it's pretty bad if you get bored within the first game that you play. Actually, that's pretty.
The thing is, it's like I don't care for golf. First off, second off,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
I was playing against bots. Like if you're playing against people, I feel like it would be different.
Yep.
I know like Nintendo had like Mario Golf that came out maybe like in the summer, and I feel like that's slightly different. But that's also like a little more like chillax. Like this was actually pretty accurate. There was like settings to like the velocity and like the momentum of that what you sent it. You could also like curve the ball, and then like the wind was obviously still a factor because I think that is in almost every golf game.
Yeah, Mario Golf.
Yeah, it's just how golf works. But my final verdict, if I were to give it a rating, right? I only played one set, but I played like a good hour of the game, you know, which is more than even games that I willingly bought that are single player games. So that says a lot, all right? I was dedicated. But I think it was like, for a simulator, I'd say it was a solid like 9 out of 10. Like it actually did a really good job of simulating like how it would be, especially using like a mouse.
A golf swing.
Yeah. But overall, the game to me is like a 5.5 out of 10.
My question: did you try to switch controls or anything like that?
No way.
He was
Why?
committed to the cause.
Bro,
Dude, I was kind of getting into it though. Like, I was like, maybe if I play this more, I'll get good at like aiming games. Where you have to flick up like exact. I was feeling
that's
it,
kind
bro.
of fair. Yeah.
I know you mentioned like hitting my monitor. Okay, I didn't hit my monitor, but one time I was playing Val, and like I flicked so hard that I just slammed my finger into my keyboard. It hurt so bad.
I've done that so many times. It's so bad.
Times. He's talking about Valorant, by the way.
Yeah, sorry,
Valorant. We say by short names usually, but
you know, Val.
I used to do that all the time for CS:GO.
Oh yeah,
it was so bad.
Oh, I was like, of course you like. I'm sure you didn't say Counter-Strike Global Offensive. But I get what you mean now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like when you're aiming and like in general, it's kind of like sometimes you get so into it, and then you're like, especially if it's like a clutch situation, you're just like, bang, and you just slam your mouse against something. It hurts, but you gotta die for the cause.
You're trying to go for a nasty flick cross map, and then next thing you know, you're like bleeding on your thumb.
Yeah, but I mean,
not saying that happened to me, but
yeah, this is based off personal experience. The game was fun though. I'd say it was a pretty good game, especially for like a newer game that I haven't tried yet. But I know there's another new game that people have been kind of ranting about recently. New World. Have you guys heard of it? Any?
Yep, the Amazon game that was supposed to be coming out last year. It was like very delayed.
Yeah.
My friends were playing it, and I saw like a little preview. You know when like you go to like Discord and you don't like enter the stream.
Yeah,
but you can see like a little thumbnail.
Yeah.
I saw a little preview of what it looked like, and honestly, for some reason, I thought like Genshin Impact almost immediately, but after looking at it a little bit more, I was like, oh, this game is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've heard. So I was talking to one of my friends who's also Hrithik's friend, Allison. She was saying that it's kind of like a mix of like Skyrim and like World of Warcraft in a sense, and I feel like that's pretty accurate.
It's very grindy. So I was on Twitch. I was watching Shroud. Like he was playing the game for like 10 to 14 hours. Like he's crazy, and he was pretty much just saying that is like if you don't have the time to like play like at least 4 to 5 hours a day, it's not a game for you, because it's one of those games that are just like really grindy. You have to spend a lot of time leveling up and all that stuff. And personally, I don't think that like appeals to me, but I can definitely see the appeal.
Yeah, it's not my pace of game. That's more yours, no, Kevin?
Yeah, it slightly is. Like my friend group in general, games like that like have that type of like MMO grindy type of style. That's for us, especially since it's more like I wouldn't say like it's like more fantasy, right? Fantasy type games with like kind of those like, I guess, not monsters,
like deep lores and
stuff like that,
extensive storylines.
Yeah, like my group is a very like Dungeons and Dragons heavy like group. So like something like that appeals to us very, very much. It looks pretty interesting. Honestly, I might get it myself. It's pretty interesting though. I heard Amazon
Yeah, so Amazon made it. Amazon has been developing kind of like a library of games that they've been trying to make, or rather they have successfully created games, but they haven't really taken off like New World has. And there's a couple, but New World has definitely been like their biggest breakthrough. And I mean, you would think that like a company like Amazon, right, with how much money they have, that they would be able to make like something that's like popular. But I think that actually proves like how cutthroat the industry is in general, and how like much people will like rave over or just like push away games really fast based off initial impression. And so I mean, this one stuck, but they had several other games that didn't. So, it proves that money doesn't really do everything in the games industry.
It's crazy to think that in all like the years that Amazon has like been like trying to get into this gaming industry, the two biggest headlines that they've had is them buying Twitch in 2014.
Yeah.
Just 7 years ago.
Okay, they make so much money off of that, though.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And then obviously now New World in 2021.
Yeah.
Supposed to be 2021. So like in that span of time, only two big major headlines have happened with them.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show like how, like you were saying, cutthroat this industry is, and how you just have to be on top of like everything.
It's not only just not only do you have to have like sort of like a budget, especially as like a bigger company, but as a bigger company, I feel like a lot of people tend to expect like more, not niche games, but like something new a lot of times.
Yeah.
I guess, well, indie does that the best, but there's a lot of times where we get games like New World that has really good production and a really big studio behind it, and it provides maybe something new, but I also feel like there's times where it doesn't produce like the same elements that like an indie game can produce.
I was reading this, by the way, so this is regarding New World. It's just some like a fun fact. The vice president of Amazon Games in general, his name is Chris Hartman. He's also the person who helped found 2K Games, which is obviously where PGA Tour is from and NBA is from. So I thought that was a really...
No wonder they have garbage games.
So I thought that was a little cool comparison, and like...
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, I think you said it well, Kevin. Like, it's really like indie games are typically the ones to revolutionize, or rather like create unique concepts, and then the bigger companies are the ones to take from those and build upon them with that foundation of just like huge companies and a lot of money, and make them like really immersive experiences. And so like a bigger one that came out that was kind of like both was Cyberpunk, and that's why I feel like it didn't hit the charts as well as they wanted it to, and like the amount of bugs and everything. I know we've talked about it several times on previous shows, but that's kind of like an example of what I feel, and I feel like Amazon is kind of a prime example of that. But I mean, typically what those bigger companies do, Amazon, Microsoft, they just buy other like publishers, or rather developers, and then it's just a subsidiary of the bigger company. So
I feel like when you buy, or when you have such a big budget, I feel like you should be able to like make something new. And a lot of times these companies, these bigger companies just doesn't, and it really confuses me. It feels like it should be swapped.
Yeah, I feel like the risk is like that. The reason they do this, I feel like the risk is lower if they do that, though.
The risk is much lower if they take an idea that they know will do well, or should do well, and they just pump a lot of money into it to make it like really all-encompassing, in the sense of like it's either free to play, so then a lot of people can do it and then they get money off of that, or just a number of things. But
yeah, it's a smart move.
We do have a deal of the week as usual. So deal of the week this time around is actually kind of a deal in a sense of it's legitimately just $200 worth of games for free.
It's a steal.
Yeah, it's a steal of a deal. Exactly. It's we were just talking about Amazon, but if you have Amazon Prime, they're going to be giving away 10 free games over the course of the month of October. And some bigger ones that I'm seeing on there that I'm kind of interested in. Ghost Runner, I've heard great things about that game. That one looks really fun. Blue Fire was a really, really fun indie game that I played, actually. It's kind of similar to like a Hat in Time or like Sunshine in the sense of platforming, but it also has a lot more combat, similar to like I'd say like Wind Waker in a sense. So that one is a really fun game to check out, as well as I know Star Wars Squadrons. Our good friend Eli has played that and he really likes that. So if any of those are interested to you, or even Alien Isolation, make sure to keep a lookout on Amazon and kind of redeem those. It's either going to be on Amazon or it might be on Twitch, because I know that Twitch has those like
the
free
little
things.
loot boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So But on top of that, kind of old news, but I know that we haven't mentioned it on the show previously. The Steam Deck is actually kind of a revolutionary concept for the space of PC gaming. So the Steam Deck is kind of a powerful handheld gaming PC that delivers like all of the Steam games that you have already in your library and the features that you already love from that Steam OS, brought to you in the form factor of a handheld similar to the Switch. So I know YouTube probably don't know too much about it, but like conceptually, does that sound like something that you would get? Is that something that you think would be cool? What do you think?
Yeah, the Steam Deck, I like heard a little bit about it, but I never really like looked at a picture. Looking at it now, it looks very much kind of like a Switch, but a little bit more powerful.
Yep.
Which is I think it's important for, you know, PC games, because they typically are more power intensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at the price, and those are some pretty high prices for.
They're high, but I mean they're not like. So okay, what I will say is I have actually researched it a lot, because I have actually placed a pre-order for the base model.
Mm-hmm.
The $399, which is the base model, and it comes with a carrying case, they're actually selling at a loss.
No way.
Yeah, I'm genuine about that. They're selling it at a loss because you have to think about it, right? $399, it's expensive, like, but if you compare it to like other, like if you compare it to a PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
A $399 PC is incredibly cheap, and this is also working off of a version of Linux, so you can literally just like throw off the Steam OS, and it's just a fully functioning PC.
That's crazy.
And you can do like the potential for the Steam Deck that I see, right? Because obviously the Steam OS, they're going to optimize it really well, and there's already been like news on like the performance that this thing can pump out, and they've been like running like some pretty nice games. Control, which is like their leading game that they've been running with, Doom Eternal, which objectively is a game that is ridiculously well optimized.
Yeah.
But like they're running like bigger games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider at like the highest settings with like console FPS, which is pretty impressive, I'd say.
Yeah, what's the resolution on the?
So it's a bit interesting. It's 1280 by 800. So it's I mean, which is fine, right? Because typically you think 1280 by 720 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just slightly
wider,
taller actually.
Taller, yeah.
But I mean, it's a 7-inch display, so like anything on there like is actually overkill. And going off of that, so Nintendo actually just started shipping out their OLED version of the Switch. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but they announced an OLED. It's like the Switch Pro, and like that is fantastic, right? Like the like quality of the display, but when you get a higher resolution, if anything, it's almost useless, because it's such a small display that you're really not getting that much out of that higher resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you're just eating the battery and power that it can provide to the games, because it's like having to output, like let's just say hypothetically, a 4K display with a portable battery is just it's not gonna pan out well.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound very good. And I know the Switch has been you can use its battery pretty quick if you're not using its dock.
Yeah.
So like for instance, I know like The Witcher 3, which is on Switch, it runs at like super low resolutions, like something by like 500, and on the Steam on the little dock, you can actually run at higher resolutions.
Yeah.
But that's because you have no issues with battery at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can kind of go ahead.
The same thing is with the Steam Deck, in that obviously it's the 1280 by 800 resolution when it's in the handheld mode. But when you dock it, you can go up to 8K.
Yeah, you can run 4K like off of it if need be. So like that's a good point. So when it comes out, it's not coming with a dock, but they're gonna sell one separately. But it's a standard like USB-C. So you can dock it with like any like USB-C dock and put it onto a monitor, and bang, you got like a full functioning PC. And that's kind of to my point previously, is like, yes, the main purpose for this is going to be gaming, but I think this fits a perfect medium between like people that enjoy console gaming but kind of want to tie into the PC realm, and maybe people that are playing like on laptops, for instance. I feel like this is a perfect substitute for that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And as far as performance, it's pretty much on par with PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
So like if you look at a Switch, that has the performance like of like worse than a 360. It's pretty low power, and it's still able to run really like well optimized games because of how optimized they are. So like you take like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, those look great and they run pretty well, but it's because they've tailored it towards that. Now
Even then it lags too.
yeah, even then it lags. A product like this, it's harder, right? Because it's taking every single game on Steam, and no company is going to optimize their game specifically for the Steam Deck. So I feel like Valve has done a pretty good job of optimizing their hardware to support all of those games. And so I'm interested to see how it'll actually run. And that's hitting the market pretty much late this year in December into next year. But I got a reservation on it like pretty much within the first 10 minutes of it being announced, or rather live to purchase. And it was like a $5 deposit or something like that. And now if you try doing it, it's like you won't get it until like Q3 of 2022. I should get mine Q1, I think.
Dang.
It's crazy.
But I'm debating whether I actually want it or not, to be quite honest. I think it's something that would be cool, and I feel like I would like be like, yeah, this is dope. But it's similar to like my like Oculus Quest in a way. Like when I use it, I love it, but I don't use it that often. So is it really worth?
Especially given how you have a PC already, it's like, what's the point?
It's a cool piece of tech, and I think like having a Steam Deck. Okay, so something I personally like have done before is I would bring my Switch to campus, because there are days where I have downtime and I just want to play some games, want to like cool off after class or anything.
That's my thought behind it.
And I think the Steam Deck is perfect for that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, like, if you look at the build of it, right, it already looks like incredibly like unique in a sense. So first off, it has like on rail, like same like Y position joysticks, so similar to like the PlayStation. Underneath it, it has like capacitive touch like sensors basically, which it goes back to like their other, I'd say, quote unquote failed products. So I know you guys might be familiar with like their like Steam Link and Steam Controller. Both of those kind of flopped. I actually have the Steam Controller. It's just weird, but what they did right on those things, they transferred over to this product. So it seems like they pretty much were pumping money into trying to revolutionize and come up with cool like concepts, all for this, you know?
Yeah, no,
That makes sense.
That's honestly like a great thing that they did take from like the controller, because I do see on the actual picture there's like a little pad, and I'm assuming that's for you to like just kind of move your. It's like a little cursor, kind of like a trackpad, right?
It's a mini trackpad.
That was on the Steam controller from what I remember, and so like stuff like that, like the small things that you see on the Steam Deck, that came from other pieces of tech. It looks like a really great piece of technology. Honestly, it looks really, really cool. I don't know if I would buy one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not much of like a bring it to campus or anything like that. But, if I had the money just to drop on it, absolutely.
I'm an early adopt. Okay. Yeah. No, we knew this would happen. We knew this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Oh man,
we
were making fun of him the entire morning.
He showed up early.
No.
He showed up early, and he was like, "Hey," the first thing he said to me, he was like, "Hey," and it was the best thing ever. It was the first thing I had said to him in the morning. And then
I come in a little later, and he's like, "I need water," and the way he says it, his voice just starts cracking like all over the place.
He's struggling today.
I don't deserve this.
Hey,
right?
you got pretty far. far.
You went 45 minutes.
Shut up.
That's
I hate
pretty
you
good.
guys. The Steam Deck, though, it looks like a dope piece of hardware. So I'm excited to see how it actually is. But what I was saying is, I'm an early adopter of a lot of like consoles and stuff like that. So Granted, I haven't bought like the PS5 or anything like that because I haven't seen any need to. But like for things like this, like handhelds or like the Oculus Quest, when I got it, like I got them pretty much right as they came out and pre-ordered them because I find it like it's a tough situation, right? Because it in this current state, it is basically selling at a loss so that they can see if there's demand for it, so that they like further technology to make better versions of it down the line. But they won't do that unless people buy the early versions of them. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a trade-off. It's like, okay, you could be the type of person that's like, well, I'll just wait until the next one comes out. But if they don't do well on the first one, then there won't be a next one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. And I kind of like, in the state that I am, I'm like, you know what? If I really like the concept, I might as well. But I have gotten screwed over because of that. Because like, for instance, the Oculus Quest, it came out. It did really, really well. But I was already supporting it before like it even came out. Like I was actually, this sounds like so like cringe, but I was on their Reddit for like the Oculus Quest when it was like at 2,000 like members or something like that before it came out, and now it's at like 400,000 or something like that.
That's crazy.
So like I was really, really early to like trying to adopt it and like push it and such, but I kind of got screwed over because they came out with a better, cheaper, and faster version of it a year and a half later.
I remember Hector was telling me that, and he's like really pissed off. But
like,
one thing I will say is that I am a fan of like the early adoption of like buying these like, especially these handheld consoles early, even though I haven't.
Yeah.
I've seen Hector buy them a lot, or like be interested in them a lot. And my entire theory behind it is like, you buy it now, yes, they're gonna have better ones getting released in the future, but it's kind of like the keepsake you can have in your office. I was the first one. You have it like displayed.
That is true.
I think it's also very important to, if you're like an early adopter, if you're, it's like the first piece of technology. It's really important that you invest in that technology, especially if you want it to do well, right?
100%.
Like, there's so many pieces of technology that has been developed, and because they didn't do like amazing, it wasn't able to be like further developed. It's important to invest.
If you have the money, you can, Like for the Switch, I also pre-ordered the Switch actually, so I got it day one. And it was actually funny too because the Switch is actually hackable / moddable on the certain firmwares of it. So if you have like the first 2 months production of the Switch, it's actually really like desired, if that makes sense, for like the hacking community. And so I think I could actually sell my Switch for like more than it's worth at retail, just because it's the original Switch.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think a lot of like people will try to do the same thing with this Steam Deck?
Well, the thing is, like, it could be because of a certain thing, but the developers for the Steam Deck have already expressed that they are like more than wanting people to like do whatever they want with it. Like, it's like,
that's a nice
you could wipe the entire OS and just do it, like use it as a PC, they said. And off of that, what I actually am really interested in running on it, actually, besides the Steam Deck, or Steam OS rather, is emulators for like GameCube. Because it's perfect. The people that have been like really raving about this have been like two people. The demographic of people that I was mentioning for like that want a PC and getting into it, but also it's huge like for the cost of an emulation machine, because emulation is really hard to run on like not the most optimal hardware. And so like for this to be running emulation all the way up to like, people have tested it spec wise, because these are like standard chips. Like these are like AMD like Zen 3 Zen 2 RDNA powerhouse. So like these are like specifically made for the Steam Deck, but there's comparable things in other things. So all of that is to say that like people have expressed that it's going to be a machine for emulation all the way up to like pretty much PS4 games or PS3 games.
Wow.
So like Wii games, GameCube games, anything before that, they'll run like a charm on this. And with like connected controllers and such, I feel like this would be like the perfect platform to run those.
I could finally play Super Monkey Ball.
I can finally play Wii Bowling.
Yeah, just throw the whole Steam Deck at the wall.
No, I don't think Wii games work the best on it, but obviously.
But you can connect like I'm sure that you can connect it through Bluetooth, the controller, because you can do that on like current Dolphin emulation, and that's what you would install in this, right?
That's,
You would
I guess,
you basically I don't know how it's specifically going to be done, and I'm sure that some really intelligent people are going to figure it out, but there's going to be a way of basically installing Dolphin and swapping between Steam and Dolphin and such. But
That's amazing.
I mean, it's definitely like something like really cool to like think about. Especially given how it's not even out like fully yet.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's all the time that we have this time around. Kevin, did you want to talk a little bit about new music that we got before we leave?
Yeah. So we have Now We Dance by The Lions and another song by Theo Crocker, Anthem. And The Lions, it's some hip hop. And of course, I've talked about Theo Crocker, some jazz. And hope y'all enjoy that.
Awesome. Well, like I said, that's all the time we have. In addition to that, make sure in future weeks to stay tuned. Every Thursday at 11, we'll try going live on Twitch as well. But I appreciate you guys listening in, as always, and have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.